Hey, we're going to talk about social engineering, but pay no attention to the backdrop. I didn't have time to iron it. So, social engineering in its purest form is the hacking of the brain. Now, when you talk about social engineering, the basic definition is the use of centralized planning in order to manipulate social change or influence one's thoughts and behaviors. Now, when I told you not to look at the backdrop, you looked at the backdrop, and it's not because I told you to, it's because I told you not to. And it's simple. I planted something in your mind that there was a backdrop and there was something wrong with it, but I didn't tell you to look at it. Your subconscious did. Now, social engineering can take on many forms, but by far the most famous one has to be subliminal messaging. Now, the basis behind subliminal messaging is flashing your brain, flashing your eyes, images, pictures, small tidbits of information, things that aren't necessarily perceivable by the naked eye, but are most definitely picked up by your subconscious. Now, these ideas, these inklings, can grow into small and large bits of information that can eventually influence the way you think and feel. Now, a famous instance of this was in the mid-50s. A researcher named James Vickery invented a device that would flash images during a movie or a projection. So they filled Fort Lee in New Jersey with 43,000 patrons, and they showed a movie where they flashed images. Now, at the end of the movie, popcorn sales had raised 58%, and Coca-Cola sales had raised 18%. Why? Well, they flashed images saying, "Hungry? Eat popcorn. Drink Coca-Cola." I know. Scary, right? The fact that somebody can influence the way you think, influence the way you believe, and influence the way you spend your money. Now, when news got out about this subliminal messaging thing, people were outraged. There were news articles, posts, you name it about this, and I'd like to quote one from the Saturday Review. It states that the subconscious mind is the most delicate part of the most delicate apparatus in the entire universe. It is not to be smudged, sullied, or twisted in order to boost the sales of popcorn or anything else. Nothing is more difficult in the modern world than to protect the privacy of the human soul. Now, think about it. Something like this definitely shouldn't be legal. They're using our minds against us. They're flashing us these things, these ideas that are transforming us and indoctrinating us, making us believe things that they want us to believe. But the scary part is there's no laws against it. It's still happening. Now, of course, people tried to fight the use of subliminal messaging. Back in the late 1950s, early 1960s, the television board for the NAB, or the National Association of Broadcasters, attempted to amend the television code, stating that subliminal messaging should never be used and never will be used. Unfortunately, there were no hearings held and the bill died in committee. Subliminal messaging is not the only thing that people use in order to hack our brains. There are things like phishing and baiting. If you've ever tried to type in youtube.com or facebook.com and you might have accidentally typed a letter wrong, you might get a website that says, "Your computer is infected, you need help immediately, seek therapy." A joke, but you get what I'm saying. And these websites are not real. They interpret Microsoft. They fake to be Microsoft or a tech support, so they get you to call them and they connect to your computer and they take your money and they shut down your computer. And there's nothing we can really do about it. Now, obviously, to me, it's easy to tell that they're phishing, they're fake, they're baiting, but think about your grandmother or your mother, for instance. She might not know, and that's why these sites are decently successful, and we can't really do anything about them because there's just so many, and it's the unfortunate truth. Now, phishing can take many forms. It could be an email from your coworker stating that they've forgotten their account credentials. "Could you please send them to me? I need to book my holiday." Or it could be an advertisement on a trusted website stating it could make your A little bit bigger. But if you've ever clicked on these links or sent that information, you understand how poorly things will go. You do not get a bigger hoo-ha, and you do not send your friend those credentials. You are sending a cyber attacker those credentials, and you are installing malware. Malware that can log your keys, that can steal your account information, that can view your bank account passwords, your Facebook passwords. They can completely break down your life, and some of these keyloggers are virtually undetectable. Unfortunately, the computer is not the only place that we can be hacked. Like I said, social engineering is the art of hacking the mind, and it's not confined by just a computer. Things like social interaction, just talking to one another. There's so many possibilities. Let's take a phone call, for example. Back in 2004, a man named Walter Nix called his local McDonald's impersonating a police officer. He convinced the manager that a new law had been passed stating that all female employees must be strip searched before they be able to work. A woman named Louise Osborne was strip searched, unfortunately, and it was very uncomfortable. She then contacted the police about it, and Walter was arrested. He was actually convicted in 2006, 2 years after the incident. Oof. But think about it. Just a 49-year-old exterminator was able to do something like that. He had no psychological background. He had no degree in psychology. He just did it. Unfortunately, when it comes to social engineering, there's nothing we can do. Our subconscious just does what it wants, when it wants. But the next time you're at the movies watching Hunger Games Part 9, think before you buy that Coke, and make sure it's what you really want. And as always, thanks for watching. This project was made by me, Gia, and Vincent. Vincent put everything together for us, Gia filled out the outline and set up the script, and I filmed and edited. All links and sites used are down in the description, and I've also attached a Word document to our upload. Thanks, guys.